ilha de São Jacinto é uma das ilhas mais pequenas de Goa, situada a poucos quilómetros da cidade de Vasco da Gama. É conhecido como a Ilha do Mistério. Vamos descobrir porquê.
There is a history behind Saint Jacinto. He is our patron saint, and he is from Poland. And the history tells us that during the Turks, there was a place like this only, and he had to cross the river because they were they were harassing the Catholic people, and he had to flee. In fact, they had put fire for the church, and he took the Blessed Sacrament. And then he was so much devoted to Our Lady that he heard that, but Jacinto, why you are leaving me? And that's why he had to carry the statue of Our Lady also. And then when he reached the river, since he could not, there were no canoes, nothing, and he just walked on the water. That was his third miracle. And during his lifetime, he made thrice he did this, and this particular was the last time that he carried the Blessed Sacrament in his one hand, and the statue of Our Lady, and he waded across the river. So, and that is why our forefathers thought it proper for this particular saint to be installed here, because this was people used to go walking across the river because it used to get dried up. So that is what the history behind it.
Saint Jacinto is a Dominican priest, and therefore the chapel on top is Saint Dominic. He belonged to Dominican society, and Dominican fathers were here. Maybe they called this place Saint Jacinto because they were there.
Saint Dominic Chapel is on top, and he has been kept down. So the our forefathers also have taught about that, and since he is the chief founder of that particular order, he has been kept on top of the hill, and then he is kept down. So because he is the follower of him.
You see, the chapels, churches in any part, they held a very important position in the lives of the people. So after the chapel came, maybe the chapel began to own that land.
Everybody who was in the island and in the Satset and Badesh Taluka were converted. Large section of population were converted to Christianity. And this created a special nucleus of Christian population in the coastal area, because they didn't spare anyone. But many people from the branch of the family, they didn't like to embrace Christianity. And they left and they went to Ponda and other areas where not under Portuguese rule.
Previously, they say there was a Hindu here who owns this whole island. Then he gave up and he went. And then slowly the villages came, I think.
We don't know whether that is a fact. You know, there are a lot of stories. This is folklore. Folklore and history, you know, we need to sift history from folklore. But I personally feel that only after 17th century, that island was occupied by the Portuguese as a military base.
Even before 1731, it is supposed to be a secretarial housing of the Portuguese regime.
It is known also as the island of Secretario. Secretarium was a high post of secretary in the 16th century. Was like our chief secretary of present days.
From 17th century onwards, when fort was constructed by the Portuguese, garrison, it would be garrisoned, and those people must have lived there.
They placed one central fort at Cabo, and on the north another fort at Aguada, and at south at Marvagoa. And these three were powerful forts that Goa had. This is this defensive system. This, you know, for nearly 42 years, the Dutch made several attempts to enter in these two rivers, but they could not succeed because of this defensive system. And Portuguese also had made a provision that in case the Dutch enters, then they would have second line of defense. The second line of defense was the island of San Jacinto. There they have got still the ramparts of the forts can be seen even today. So they had nearly 9 or 10 cannons placed at that place.
No fundo, a ilha toda resume-se a um monte e no cimo do monte uma capela. É para lá que vamos caminhar. A vegetação que encontramos pelo caminho é de facto fantástica. Não admira que pessoas como Dimas Bosque se tenham apaixonado por esta ilha. Este médico português, aliás, tinha um sonho: estudar a flora de São Jacinto. Viveu aqui durante 5 anos, estudando com todos os pormenores as plantas desta ilha. Mas morre assim que chega a Portugal. O livro nunca chega a ser publicado. Ninguém sabe sequer onde está o manuscrito. Morre assim uma das pesquisas mais exaustivas alguma vez feitas sobre a ilha de São Jacinto. Chegar lá acima não é propriamente fácil, mas vale a pena. Daqui facilmente apercebemos porque é que a capela foi construída neste local, mas o que ainda não se percebeu até hoje é o mistério que ela encerra.
Inside the chapel, there is a open hole like that. They used to go from from here to Siridam.
That tunnel which has been there is linking to that church at Saint Jesus of Nazareth. So it goes under the water, under the river. That is what we have been told, but how far it is true, we do not know.
That one is Siridam Church. Siridam Church, and that this chapel is there, no? That is Saint Dominic Chapel. Tunnel is from there to there. Siridam.
यहाँ आता भुयाँ रहा सत्या उस यहाँ तो रहा उस चीज तो दलर वो सॉन्ग में होता तिंगा सुर भुयाँ रहा ये भी जुयार उठे दोरिया ताऊचन नो दोरिया ताऊचन यहाँ तो बोरे उस चीज दलर को होता पुनी उस चीज दलर बिरान न थी ऐसे मुंडा वैसे सगले बोरे हाले पाउंडे सार की वस्पा सार की सेम रस्तो हाला सार को चोलपाक रस्तो हाला आणि हाली पण इसकात आणि हे सारखे कोर हाले हे कोर हाले म्हणजे कितें ते आदल्या मनशांनी ते कातलेले आनी सारखे कोर केलेले ते आतां कितें जालां पावसान ते हे बरें उंच हाले हे पावसान ल्हव 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 देंवन सकयल गेलो हिंगा फोबर ना हाली हिंगा भुंयार आहा पळय ती जायतो लोक येवन वयतालो पण आमी अकस्मात आमकां एक आदी पाद्री आलो धाकटे आसतना दाखयलेले हिंगा भुंयार आहा म्हणून ते पाद्रीन आमकां हाडून हिंगा दाखयलें भुंयार आहा म्हणून आमी बरे भितर वयताले धाकटो आसतना पाद्री पयलो वयतालो मागीर हाटा आमी वयताले मागीर कुडक्याक सावन आमकां वत्तालो भायर हाडटालो मागीर आनीक दुसरो पाद्री येयलो तो पाद्री हिंगा खोपेलां रावतालो आनी तेणें तें सुणें पोसलेलें तें सुणें पोसून तो पाद्री भितर सरलो आनी सुणें आनी पाद्रीन आत दवरली हातींत ती आत जेवन वयता आसतना पाद्री बरो पयस पावलो म्हणजे दर्या हितून पावलो तें सुणें भायर सरलें काळोख जालो न्हू आनी तो पाद्री आत जेवन गेलो मुखार तें सुणें भायर सरलें मागीर तें सुणें भायर सरलें आनी तें कोपेला घरान बुंगतालें तिलें कळलें त्या लोकांक कित्याक बुंगता म्हण पाद्री जाल्यार पाद्री ना म्हणून.
There is a popular folklore, like if you talk to the old people, they will tell you that every cave and tunnel, a priest went inside, he was followed by a dog, the dog came out and the priest never came out. This is the popular story. Now again, it becomes very difficult to establish the priest, as you are saying, that church and the tunnel, some kind of a connection, because these are basically all speculations especially about San Jacinto Island. No, it is a big mystery, as I've said earlier. For me, it is a mystery.
Como nos contou o Padre Barreto, ao todo existem 30 famílias nesta ilha, ou seja, 150 pessoas, todas católicas. Aos domingos, nunca faltam à missa celebrada na igreja de São Jacinto.
We only go there and use the chapel for during Easter time, during the Lenten time. Twice we go there. We actually take the procession of Jesus with the cross on top of the hill on the third Sunday of Lent, then again on Good Friday day. Then in the month of May we celebrate the feast of Saint Dominic. So these 3 days we celebrate there. But since people previously the priests who were well-to-do, go in good health, they used to go every week to say mass there. But now some of the priests, they can't climb the hill. Even we can't climb the hill. Becomes exhausted, so that's why they don't go. Otherwise, we normally the earlier priests, they used to go and say mass. So that was much in use then.
हिंगाचे लोक खाय ते चडशे वास्को हाय तेंचे हे आनी फेस्त बी कितें आसता न्हू तेन्ना येताय मे मंथ ओ सप्टेंबर न्हू हिंगा फुल आसता आयलंड हावस क्लोज हाय ती लेगून ओपन जाताय तेन्ना फेस्ताक मे मोस्टली ऑल हाउसेस आर क्लोज न्हू सो दे कैन कम फॉर फेस्ट टू स्टे हियर फॉर सम डेज एंड देन दे विल गो फॉर देयर फिशिंग वास्को मोस्टली फिशरीज.
Ao andar pela ilha de São Jacinto, encontramos muitas portas fechadas, casas vazias, sem vida. Como nos contou a Irene, muitos dos residentes mudaram-se para as grandes cidades como Vasco da Gama, Pondá ou Mabsá. Mas há muita gente que criou raízes nesta ilha e que não arreda pé por preço algum, como a mãe da Irene, a senhora Cristalina.
व्हडलें जावन मागीर इस्कॉल कशें गेला वास्को प्रायमरी स्कूल आनी मागीर आमच्या हिंगा इंग्लीश मागीर हिंगा सीआर आमचो फादर येयलो तेणें आमकां शिकयलें इंग्लीश थोडी चड न्हू तशें पोर्चुगीजूय शिकला आनी कोंकणी आनी म्हणलें म्हणटा म्हाका आमकां लायक जाली न्हू.
Ao sair da capela, do lado direito, encontramos um farol. Hoje já não funciona, mas a vista lá de cima é de cortar a respiração.
We all know that lighthouse, why it is required. It is for the purpose of navigation, so that the ships which previously did not have the radars, to facilitate them, all these lighthouses have been built. You can see one at Chikalim. Then there's another lighthouse which is near the entrance of harbour. It comes in a straight line. So once the ships are outside, they can come, they follow the coast, the straight coast, so they have this thing for easy navigation. First, they can have the Fort Aguada, that lighthouse, which can be still seen now, which is going around as if 3 times it flashes, like saying like Goa.
The Aguas lighthouse was constructed in 1864. This lighthouse was constructed in 1900. So, of course, as a beacon for the sailors and all, that is the utility that we can see of the lighthouses, to show light to the sailors and all. But I'm just trying to understand that these were the pre-First World War years. So maybe to see if there was any invasion, to see if there was any enemy movement in the waters of Goa, in the Goa waters, maybe to see as a watchtower against those things, kind of enemy movements in neutral waters or the harbor area. Maybe for that it was constructed in 1900, because this is the pre-First World War years, and those 13 years before the First World War were very important, and lot of things were happening. The power equations were changing in the world, and lot of things.
Previously, the Portuguese people, they had appointed one person from Chikalim to come early in the night at 6 o'clock to light the lighthouse, the lamp, and then he used to come in the morning to put it off. So only in the nights they used to come.
When you look at San Jacinto Island, we have the lighthouse. There's an inscription on the lighthouse dating 1900. We have the fort. We have the chapel. And there is a chapel next to the lighthouse also. So going by these evidences of history, the very fair conclusion that we can bring about is that it was used as a defensive bulwark or a defensive barrier for strategic importance. It was used by the Portuguese government.
For defensive. So local people had nothing to do. It's a defensive purpose. Military would use. Otherwise, people were on the eastern side. This is on western side. But on this eastern side, they had their church, this and that.
Goes to church, open the church, ready everything, fathers, and 6 o'clock I have to go ring the bell, and 7:15 the mass is coming. It's a club, St. Jacinto Sports Club, no? Club it is. It was before, we studied there only, till 4th standard. Then after they closed it. Population होणे लांब भुरगीं न्हू तेन्ना 13 जाणां लावन तो शिकोवपाक केल्लो. सर येतालो वास्कोसान, पोनयो काडचो पडटालो, तार काडची पडटाली, येवपा वचपा, जेवणा प्रॉब्लम जातालो तेका, जेवण हाडचें पडटालें. मागीर वयतलो केन्ना, आतां पाणी सुकली म्हणटर कितकोन वयतलो, पयलीं आमी चलोन वयताले.
Go for schools and all that, we had to go like that because boats were not there, canoes were not there. The person who was running the canoes used to stay on the other side. Then we used to call him. If he doesn't come, then we had to go walking across. And then finally, after this Indian government came in, then the government, the Goa government, they built this causeway, which is earlier to this bridge which is now.
The bridge completely changed the ecology of the river, and the mussels and clams are very, very scanty in comparison with what it was. I was given to understand.
It had affected because the silt which is there, it gathered all over around, and the bed of this thing for the shells, that died. It was covered with all silt. Chikol, you can see, this chikol. So that's why the shells could not breed.
St. Jacinto Island is important on account of this. From the very beginning, there was a lot of activity only of mussels and clams. This was a very well famed place, was St. Jacinto Island.
They were collecting tiserios, shinano and selling them. So that was the occupation. Tiserio, shinano, they were available in that area. In fact, that is the natural heritage of that place, that is tiserio, shinano.
Here the people who were residing were very poor. They were mostly fisher folks. So the elderly people, they used to go for removing the shells, and then to earn their livelihood, they used to go take the shells to the market for sale. That is what even my family had to do. My mother also, my grandmother also, they were removing shells. Even most of these elderly people, they still remember they used to come and remove shells.
तिसऱ्यांचे वयर सरले न्हू आमी तिसऱ्यांचेर वयर सरले आमी आमकां मायन पायन वयर काडले तिसऱ्यांचेर ल्हान आसतना.
But now again they have put another bridge, perhaps to have that whole island as a tourist haunt zone, which will spoil completely the makeup of the island.
But now with this new bridge which is being constructed, they say that after about 5 to 6 years, the silt will this thing will go away, and there will be a bed like for the shells to come up.
A ocupação principal desta ilha é sem dúvida a pesca. Por todo o lado por onde andamos, podemos ver os pescadores a remendar as suas redes, a descarnar as ameijas e mexilhões e os barcos ancorados, prontos para mais um dia de trabalho.
पात्रांव हांडी थंय तेंकां पात्रांव हाडटाय ते जोडटाय आतां पिंजलो आहा समज पिंजला कुडको त्या पीस हाडप आनी जॉयंट करप शिंवताय ते आनी मागीर तें आगळां काडटाय व्हडे दाखयले ना बडे ना थोड्यान सुकां घालताय मागीर जालें रेडी मागीर ते हितून ल्हानशे बोतान सारकें अशें करून ट्रॅप करताय नुस्त्याक मागीर नुस्तें हाडप तें.
Our forefathers have migrated from Sankwal, and during some earlier days there was a plague and people had to run away, and the people were dying and all that. So the forefathers, they thought of taking this place, and the forefathers were mostly fisher folk. So what they did is everybody gathered, and then the land was distributed in such a way that everybody got a share. So now all the plots are made about, say, 350 square meters, not more than that. Similarly, one plot to each one is given a plot of land on top of the hill also, so that they can use that firewood, because that time there were no gases and all that.
The church, along with the village, form a community, and this area belongs to the church as well as to the villages.
All people from the island are very, very firm in not allowing any tourist trade there. And they don't sell also their land to anyone. This is a peculiar happening in Goa, because in Goa everybody wants to sell their land. But in San Jacinto, all people have unitedly have denied any proposal for sale of land.
पयलीं सान आदल्यान करून दवरलां ते भायल्यान कोणाक दिवपाचें न्हू म्हण हिंगा हे गांवाचें कितलें हें जावं विकप ना प्रॉपर्टी
आमची पगार दुसऱ्यांक कोणा विकूंक जायना
पयल्या सान करून
आतां चेडू पासून काजार जाता तेका पासून दिवंक जायना आतां हांव घर जावं म्हणून सांग आतां घर जाय म्हणजे म्हणून हांव हिंगा काजार जाला आनी घर हांव हिंगाच जल्माचे सारकें हिंगा
No, he can sell only to the person who are already here. No outsiders can take over. That is the unwritten law of the land, and that is accepted by each and everyone. and it has been revived every now and then, so that people are made, the new generation is made aware of this particular uniqueness.
Como o Caetano nos confessou, esta ilha é de facto única. É uma das ilhas mais pequeninas de Goa, com apenas 2 km de diâmetro. Espero que tenham gostado da visita. E eu cá estarei, como sempre, daqui a 15 dias para mais um Contacto Goa.